What's going on, guys? My name's Matt, and I record videos and put on YouTube, except for this last week that I did not post a video. And there was a slew of reasons to why that didn't work. Uh, First, initially, the first day comes down to sleep, as it usually does. Mondays are the days that I stay up way longer than I should because I don't have to go to work that night, and because of that, I sleep late and then kind of just don't think about it. Now, Wednesday and Thursday, Tuesday, Tuesday and Wednesday, I had internet issues. Not really sure what it was, but it was like every freaking 20 minutes my internet was going out, and you know, we were having some weather that might have been a slight cause of that, but it really wasn't that bad of weather, so I don't really know if what was exactly going on, but my internet kept going out, and so I did record video on Wednesday, and so that video might get posted at some point during the week. It will be like double posted, so there'll be two videos in that day, only because it seems like such a waste to have a recorded video that I don't post. But also on Wednesday when I went to, or maybe it was Tuesday. Tuesday when I went to record on Tuesday before I realized that my internet was giving me issues. Um, I could not find my microphone for the life of me. Uh, I found it Wednesday night. It was hiding in a place that I would not have expected to look for it, so I lucked out that I found it. But yeah, so I got it in time to record, like I said, a video for Wednesday, and then last night, yesterday. Uh, Not to say that it's a great excuse, nonetheless, but I got a lady friend that I've been talking to a lot, and I practically just spent the entire day talking to her. Um, because some things are important in life, especially when you really care for somebody. You care for somebody new, and you care for them, and you want them to feel the same way so that they can care about you, and then you can be in a relationship together. And I'm way too early into all this to say that her and I are going to be boyfriend girlfriend, but I can say that I like the idea of it, and she likes the idea of it. So, you know, it hopefully it would happen, but again, we're still too early enough where I would not ask her, and she's not going to ask me because we're still too new into talking and hanging out that we just, obviously it's better to let have some time before making big play moves like that. But being as of old past things, if I have a girlfriend and I do record on YouTube, um, it would have to be until her and I are together for a long time before you guys are ever going to meet her, because the last time I attempted to do this, I had people coming out the yin yang wazzle dicks just to bash me over my girlfriend, or literally going out of their way to make fake accounts just so they could spam my account with, calling her horrible names and stuff like that. And, we might not be together anymore, but I still would never condone somebody like running their mouth about somebody, especially when at the time I did care about them. So just learned early on that YouTube is not the place to talk about your relationship, and it's not a place to put your girlfriend on the internet if it's not something that you think is going to last, because obviously I don't like showing off a girl that eventually isn't even there, uh, like the last one. So, uh, so yeah, so again, not the greatest excuses, but those are the honest to God reasons to why I didn't post this week. But like I said, I do have technically two videos that I recorded Wednesday and Thursday that will be uploaded. Like I just had issues with my internet. So this week you're probably going to get videos that have, you know, or you're gonna get more than one video a day in some days, just because of that fact of I got makeup days to make up. So hopefully, hopefully they outweigh themselves somehow. I'm not really sure how that works. But to talk about what I've actually come here to talk to you guys about is I had put this off longer than I should have, uh, but I just finished watching the hour and 46 long HBO special about the Harry Potter 20-year anniversary. So let me just make this clear now. If you haven't seen it already, I'm not spoiling anything. Um, it was what I thought it was. Practically, it's just all the characters coming back. I can't say all of them because they're not all there, but most main roles, most main characters, or major supporting roles come back. They put them on the sets of Hogwarts, and they all talk about Harry Potter, and they talk about their experiences from starting as children to growing up as adults. And I mean, yes, it is sad at times. During an hour and 46 minutes, I probably teared up twice. That like legit teared me up. Once at the end because I mean you just know it's they're talking about the ending of the movie. You know, I'm I'm a very huge film person, so I love great acting. I love great scenes, and I will admittingly say to this to you to my dying. I will literally say until my dying day that the last scene of Harry Potter, well, not the very last one, but the last I'd say 40 minutes of Harry Potter and Deathly Hallows Part 2 is probably my all-time favorite scene of just a movie in general. When Harry Potter learns that he's the last Horcrux and that he has to die for Voldemort to be able to die, and learning that Snape wasn't the bad guy the whole time and he was actually the good guy pretending to be the bad guy to be the good guy to protect Harry Potter. Um, Harry Potter gets the um, the the Infinity Stones. Mixing up genres here. Uh, you know the stone. Why can't I think of the damn name of the three Deathly Hollows? The Resurrection Stone. Why did that take me so long to remember? I don't know. But the scene where Harry Potter gets the Resurrection Stone and he sees his mom and his dad, and um, you know, everybody is talking to him, and he accepts the fact that he has to die, but he does come back to life. But it's still that there's a very emotional build up, and then the final fight scene between Voldemort and Harry, and obviously, inevitably, Harry Potter wins, but Harry Potter wins solely upon the due fact that he's the one who disarmed Malfoy, and since he disarmed Malfoy, Malfoy was the owner of the the Elder Wand because of the fact that it was owned by uh, you know head head head. Why can't I? I'm having the worst time remembering things. I just literally watched an entire 2 hour long special about this. I grew up with the movies. I've seen them a million times, and yet I cannot think half people's names. So when Malfoy was in the clock tower, Malfoy disarms Dumbledore. And because he disarmed Dumbledore, he was actually then the owner of the Elder Wand, because the Elder Wand follows the person who was able to disarm it from the person who had it last. So the Elder Wand started following Malfoy, and the Dark Lord thought that not Sirius, that Snape had disarmed Dumbledore. That's why he kills him, thinking that since he killed him, that then the wand would obey Voldemort, not realizing that he wasn't the one who disarmed him, so the wand never belonged to him in the first place. So that means that when Malfoy was in Malfoy's manor, which is, his parents' house, and Harry Potter's there, and Harry Potter disarms Malfoy at his house, even though Malfoy doesn't have the Elder Wand in his possession when it happens, the Elder Wand still understands that he was disarmed by Harry Potter. So that meant that the wand became Harry Potter's wand. And so the very final scene of the movie is Voldemort fighting Harry Potter, but Voldemort doesn't realize that he's fighting Harry using Harry's wand. So that's why inevitably he loses really quickly. And I don't know. I love stories, so I love ideas of that. Like if you have the idea or the idea of paying attention, and you not believe, but you can understand the facts. Movies are in-depth, beautiful ways of people putting their brains onto some form of work, and my brain likes to solve things. It likes to decipher things. It's a curse of mine because it's always running up there, but it's just something I've always done. And movies are like the best and greatest release for this because I can get lost in a movie. I will pay horribly bad attention. I am a talker, obviously. You can tell from my YouTube videos. I have zero issue talking. And when I'm at a friend's house and they want to turn a movie on or a show that I've never seen before, and I want to be pay attention and be a part of it, I'll stop talking. I'll go dead silent and I will focus on the movie or the show because I need to know everything. I have to pay attention because I will solve things. When the show practically allows you to solve it is when I'll solve it. But most people are that type where they have to wait until the show is like, oh, and then we were doing this, but you were watching us do this, and that's when everybody's like, what? But I'll be like mid-season, like, oh my god, because I will have put all the pieces together before the show actually tells you, or the movie, and realize, and that's why my sister, huge example of this, and also again with the Harry Potter movies, I called it that Harry Potter was going to die. I've never read the books, okay, so let's make this clear here. For anybody out there that obviously had read the books so you knew what the fuck the story was supposed to happen or whatever, I didn't have this. The only Harry Potter I followed was the movies. So I didn't know what was going to happen prior to them happening. So like when I went in to go watch a movie like Prisoner of Azkaban, I didn't know what was happening even though the book had already been out. I didn't read, so I just didn't know. And so, I'm going into this whole thing with this wondrous, adventurous, exploring of, oh, it's Harry Potter. And my sister and I had seen every Harry Potter film together in movie theaters. So the last three of them, we were old enough where we didn't have to go with my family like we were teenagers. So we still went together. And I think it was like midway through the third one, or the third to last movie, which I think is Half-Blood Prince. Yeah, Half-Blood Prince, Deathly Hallows Part 1 and 2. And so, Half-Blood Prince, I don't remember at all now what it was, the scene, or something happened, obviously. And it turned the gears, and my brain clicked in a way that I made the mental realization 3 movies prior to it happening that Harry Potter was a Horcrux, and that he was gonna die. Because again, if you don't know Harry Potter, I'm sure you're not even watching at this point. And if you do, I'm sorry I'm explaining things to you that you already know. But obviously, when Voldemort would kill somebody, it would split his soul, and he would put part of that soul inside of an object, and that would become a Horcrux. That allowed him to come back to life when he died, because even though his body was destroyed, part of his soul still lived in something else. And that's why, obviously, in the later part of the movies, it's all with Dumbledore and Harry running around trying to find all the Horcrux and destroy them, because they obviously come to that obvious realization that if you destroy all the Horcruxes, then Voldemort can't come back because his soul doesn't exist anywhere. And you know, like I said, they're going through and they're like starting to really, you know, dive in, and you start thinking of things of like the early movies, and you have Jenny's diary that, or well, it was Voldemort's diary, but the diary that Jenny Weasley had. Harry Potter stabs it with a tooth, and due to beautiful acting and storytelling, if you actually pay attention, it looks like Harry Potter is in pain when he hurts the book. So it's that ideal of realization of it being like, why would Harry be hurting due to destroying a Horcrux? And it just took, obviously, I'm sure there's people out there that guessed it prior to when I did, but I kind of was like, oh, and my sister's like, what? And I was like, I got something to tell you after the movie. And she's like, okay. And so the whole movie ended, and we jumped in the car and we're on the way home. And my sister was like, what was that you gasped over in the movie theater? And I just kind of like smiled at her. I was like, I don't know if I should tell you, because I was like, I already figured out what's going to happen in the movie. And she's like, oh, tell me. And I was like, I don't want to ruin it for you. She's like, oh, I want to hear what you have to say, because I want to see if it plays out the way you think it's going to. So I told her exactly. I mean, obviously, it wasn't like I was like all the details of like Ron and Hermione finally falling in love and stuff like that. I didn't know none of that, but it was like that fool's idea of being like, there is going to come a point where somebody's going to look at Harry and say, "You're a Horcrux. When he killed your mother, and the spell bounced off of her and scarred your head, that killed him, and doing so split his soul because he had just killed somebody, and the only thing around them that was living was Harry. So of course Voldemort's soul attached to Harry, and became a Horcrux that Voldemort never intended to make. And so because of that, he was practically kept alive for the full knowledge and understanding that he has to die. And I just I knew it. I just knew it. And I told her that, and then like I said, we saw the last two movies together, and we got down to the Deathly Hallows Part 1, a lot more noticeability to it. They destroy a Horcrux, and Harry, like, falls down because it's like it hits him so hard. And, um, and this is things that already happened earlier again, but Harry's got this connection with Voldemort where he can either see through Voldemort's eyes to see something that he's doing at that current moment, or he can see his past, or he can see like a memory of Voldemort's that he wouldn't or shouldn't have access to. And you know, the idea in the beginning of the movie, they tell him that he has this mental connection where Voldemort can tap into his brain as much as he can tap into, Voldemort's brain. But then as the movies progress and the movies get to the end and you start learning all this about Harry being a Horcrux, you start to actually realize that it's not so much that Harry can get into Voldemort's head, it's that Voldemort is a part of Harry. Harry is half Harry and half Voldemort. So, this whole story, this whole movie line is built up upon Harry Potter growing up to be this good, heroic kid, and, to fight this horribly bad person who killed his family. But it all comes down to the very end of that Harry is constantly feels like he's a lot more like Voldemort than he should be, and that is because he is obviously a part of him. So, you know, once the movies ended, once the part of the second Deathly Hallows happens where Harry learns about everything and learns that he has to die. And then he walks downstairs and he cries to Hermione, and Hermione cries, and because she also understands, and obviously it was a very sad moment, and I'm like in tears in the theater, and my sister grabs me by my shirt, and she's just like, "How did you know?" She thought I like cheated, or like somehow somebody told me, and I was like, "I swear to God, I just knew." I just knew from the way that Harry Potter acted every time they destroyed a Horcrux that he acted like it hurt him, and the only idea that I could think of at the time was, well, maybe he is a Horcrux, and that's why it hurts to have him, to be have them destroyed, is because not only is he destroying part of Voldemort's soul, he's actually technically killing a part of the soul that lives within him. And it was a great movie series. One of the greatest movie series I've ever got to grow up with. I mean, obviously, I grew up with the greats, so I got the Star Wars, I got the Lord of the Rings, and I got Harry Potter, and I love all three of those movies. Uh, I can watch them on replay and never be bored. I only watch the Harry Potter series once a year. It's usually actually right in the beginning of the year. Last year, unfortunately, I waited till the end of the year, so I just more recently watched them, and I could probably watch them again now, but I kind of want to wait, and I don't want them to be too stale. I don't want to ever get a time where I'm turning on a Harry Potter movie and I'm like, eh. The other funny part of the movie is there's like certain movies that for some reason, like Sandlot, if anybody's seen the movie Sandlot, is another example of movies based around kids. I mean, the entire movie is kids. There's like no adults. I mean, there are, but they're not like supporting, or they're more supporting roles. They're not like the main role. It's the kids are, and it's hard to watch a movie that's based on and meant to be about kids as an adult and enjoy it. But obviously, I think it's that idea that I watched Sandlot when I was a kid because it was out when I was a kid. And then I grew up, and even though I'm an adult now, I feel that nostalgia of being able to watch, you know, a kid's movie and still enjoy it. Um, but the other part of that is, Harry Potter starts off as a very kids movie. Obviously I watched it when I was like practically the same age as Harry Potter as he was growing up. So I mean, it was like you had this childish feeling, but like I was obviously just explaining, by the time the movie series was over, I was in high school. So actually, I might have been out of high school for all I know. I don't know. I was older, okay, and so since enough time had passed by, it just was one of those moments where it was like, um, I don't know. It's hard to actually describe exactly in words. I don't know. It's just the awesome idea, I guess, that you know the movie started off and I was a kid and it was based around kids, so it's a very kid-friendly movie. But I mean, as the movies go on, things get darker and darker and darker, and then it gets to the point where they grow up and they're teenagers and they're dealing with, you know, this, side of things where they're dating now, and they got the quote unquote teenage thing, but now they're starting to actually deal with more bullshit in the movies, fighting people, doing things like that, and then it finally switches over to the dark and dreary when they're adults, and they're young adults, and they're fighting Voldemort and Death Eaters and stuff like that. So it evolves with you. So I grew up, and as I grew up from being a kid, I went from watching this like kid-friendly movie to watching this adult-friendly movie. It grew up with time, and so I think that's the other reason why the movie series is still so good 20 years later, is because you can watch the first Harry Potter, and even though it's a very kid-friendly movie and very happy, and I mean, yes, it has some parts in it that's drama and stuff, but I mean, it's for the most part, it's a very kid-friendly movie. You can watch it now as an adult and not watch it and be like, oh, this is like stale, or I hate watching these kids. It's a whole movie full of kids. but because it's the idea and the understanding of, you know, that you're starting off in this nice, friendly, happy feeling movie, and every movie you get until the eighth movie gets drearier and drearier and drearier, and more drama and more suspense and more action, and it's awesome. So I don't know. I could talk about Harry Potter and shit for a very long time, but I do have to do some work before I call this evening, goodbye. So I'm going to get off of here now. But yeah, so you guys might be getting a few extra videos this week because of obvious reasons I explained at the beginning. And thank you for listening to me sit here and talk about Harry Potter, because I'm a total nerd and I can nerd out over Harry Potter very, very easily. Um, but if you guys like this video, a like would be much appreciated. If you're new to the channel, you should subscribe by clicking on the icon in the corner over here. It will take you to, it will let me subscribe to me. Or it takes, I still haven't figured that out. Does it, somebody needs to leave me a comment. Does the clicking on this here face thing over here, does that let you subscribe to me instantaneously, or does it take you to my channel so that way you can subscribe to me? Not really sure. I'm sure, I feel like since it says subscribe, it probably means subscribe by clicking on it. Anyways, the other videos of 2022 are going to go over here. You can click on those if you want to watch them. Click on both of them bad boys, and I'll love you forever. And I gotta go, and hopefully you have a good night. And I have my hat inside out, and there's hair on it. Yeah, I'm observative.